All right, thank you for joining me. Hi, everybody. I'm Conscious Medium Brandon Russ. Star date 3/18/2022. A lot of you have been requesting this. It is part request and part need to really kind of show some progress. I mean, one of the challenges as an empath is sometimes when you begin this work and you really are immersed in it, you can really get subjugated to the things that are going on in the world. And I have to protect my own energy, which is why I'm not putting out a daily video connected to this. But I did make a commitment to make sure that we had, I'm going to keep an eye on it in terms of progress. Well, today is a really good day for progress. Right here out of the gate, we're going to be talking about, of course, President Zelensky and then Premier Putin. I don't know what his official title is. I refuse to insult him because he's insulted the world. Just because someone does something and you need to call it out, just know that we're getting into a time where we will not turn the other cheek anymore. We are getting to that point. But I do have hope because there is a chance for peace between these two yahoos. I call them yahoos. They're both great men in their own right, depending upon your perspective. And by the way, everyone has light. Everyone has dark. What do we choose to pay attention to? Right now, Vladimir Putin, as I have laid out in previous videos, that he is without a doubt actually going through some stuff right now, personal stuff, personal growth, and there's the opportunity. By the way, which is something I say all the time, thank you so much for calling me out on that, my imperfection, human tendencies. Volodymyr Zelensky took to the airways this week and showed unabashed and unforgiving, unapologetic call for help. He just begged the world. He got a standing ovation. We called Putin a war criminal. We in the United States are absolutely full of shit. Sorry. We haven't had a good leader here. The last really good leader this country has had, we killed him in Dallas. I'm not going to be political, though. By the way, more videos to come. I really enjoy doing these, and I want to move away from pure daily politics, but I certainly understand the need for it right now during conflict, and I really do appreciate you guys. We're going to take a look at a couple of different things. We might revert back and talk a little bit about some of what's in their charts, but what we're really going to dive into is what is today. What is March 18th, 2022? Well, I'm going to tell you, if you are hopeful for a peaceful solution, today might be a day for the catalyst of that. So leading up to this, you have Vladimir Putin actually calling out his oligarchs, which, by the way, has been political suicide for both them and him in the past. Volodymyr Zelensky has taken to the world and spoken to, I think, 3, if not 4, parliamentary, congressional, what have yous around the world. The United States, I think he addressed the EU. I know France was in there, and I think Britain. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but as of now at noon, about this time, by the way, I hope to have this out before 3 o'clock, the dynamic here is that Zelensky has clearly said, listen, we're in trouble. But we're not in trouble in the sense that you think we're in trouble. We're going to do this. If you, instead of sitting there being bleeding hearts going, we care for people. Well, Volodymyr, I'm here to tell you that the way that I need to do this is through something like EMPATH Rising. Click on the link below, get our t-shirts, whatever the case may be. We've already made our first installment to the Be Strong Foundation. They have boots on the ground in Poland, bringing it to your people and your refugees in Poland in particular. From what I understand, they're moving into other countries. I don't want to quote anything without out of school. But taking a look at the chart right now, this would be a really good time for Putin to swallow some crow. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen here in this kind of 72-hour blend. This is a way for him to actually be able to save face a little bit, which is a thing for him, So what you do, and by the way, people have been asking this, is when I do these comparison charts, are they synastry? Yes, that's basically where you take two people's charts, you work their birth chart versus what they're going through at this time. I'm here to tell you that as a quick summary, taking a look at the two of them individually, Zelensky is all about speaking his truth. He's all about standing his ground. He's all about getting there. Putin is all about his structure crumbling. His Saturn is under attack. He's in opposition of Venus. He's in opposition of Mars. He's in opposition of Lilith. And his Chiron is right up his ass in Aries. So he has a whole bunch of things that are kind of like, if he was Urkel, he would go, did I do that? He's kind of looking around going, what did I do? Zelensky's sitting there going, You mess with one Ukrainian, you'll mess with all of us. And by the way, if you want a really cool rabbit hole, Google Klitschko, who's a former heavyweight champion of the world. He's actually fighting in this. He's a 6'5" retired boxer. By the way, he's also a doctorate. I think he got his doctorate in global studies economy. He's a smart dude for taking a couple of hits to the snake. He's definitely got it together. Oh, and I also want to give a shout out to my new friend Aaron. If you're into OBS stuff, by the way, some of the improvements that I've been able to do onto this channel is just watching tutorials. I've really kind of closed the gap on this. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for your positive comments of encouragement to help me change and do it better. That's how I roll. So I went out and I found this really cool channel. Aaron is pretty fantastic. I'm going to put it in the link below. But a really kind of cool channel if you're into this work. The guy has kind of been invaluable to me over the last couple of weeks. Oh, there you go. There he is. Aaron. His page is OBS with no BS. He's no nonsense. He talks right to it. I hope to build a bigger relationship with him and actually hire him as a coach so I can do these a little bit better. But now to the charts. So let's take a look at where we're at when it comes to, and first of all, a little bit of, oh gosh, I took that out. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to hide one, do the other. I'm really good at this now. By the way, this is our effort right here with our empath rising. This actually speaks to what we're doing here in the world. Go ahead and purchase a shirt. By the way, they're relatively inexpensive. Shipping's gotten a little out of control, but that's kind of the world right now. We take a portion of our profits and donate to Be Strong Foundation. So that's just kind of that right there. All right, to the chart. To the chart. All right. First of all, we're going to bring them back up, and then we're going to do one of these. Okay, the top of the chart. So this is where everything kind of links together. On the left, you've got Zelensky. On the right, you've got Putin. So I'm going to bring this guy up just a little bit more. So taking a look at this here. So you've got some dynamics here where the moon is really playing havoc. So you've actually got a couple of three things going on today. You've got the moon, which is the emotional influence on Zelensky. He just appealed to the world, everybody. Pay attention. Pay attention. Now he's actually appealing to Vladimir Putin. Look at all that influence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 influences on Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Lilith, North Node, and the 10th house. Uranus in the 10th house also have a very key supporting role into this. As a matter of fact, I actually think Uranus is the standpoint that Putin is actually understanding this. I'll get to that here in a second. So taking a look at the moon, you've got this kind of influence where, first of all, the moon square with Jupiter. Well, this, my friends, is actually talking directly to the understanding that he's kind of said no. He's kind of looked at him and just flat out said, no, we're not going to do that, right? This is very, very challenging. This is an ups and downs thing. But Putin's wish for expansion and then Zelensky's will to say, we're going to protect the motherland, right there, right? But there's opportunity in this because the positive aspect of this is that the trine sun to moon, right, from Zelensky to Vladimir, is that there's a mutual respect emerging. Say what you want. I don't think Zelensky never not respected Putin. I don't get that just intuitively. But I'm going to say it like this. I genuinely feel that Putin just went, these guys can take a punch. These guys, I'm dropping trow on everything. And by the way, you just bombed a school, Putin. You bombed a theater where people were giving birth in the basement. The United States went so far as to boldly stick out their neck and say, you're a war criminal. We should take action. We should. But we are so compromised as a country. We are so compromised because of our politicians. And it wasn't just one. It was many. Oh, and by the way, the one that they took out in Dallas in 1964, super compromised. Right? Instead, we look at the compromise and capitalize on that instead of doing the right thing. We're bastards. The human experience is bastardization, really. But here we are, Putin. You are doing atrocities. That is what you resorted to. You are taking cheap shots. Do you remember a few years ago where somebody was like, they were basically they were anti the protest. It was like Black Lives Matter or whatever, and they got so frustrated that their side of the coin wasn't winning. So he just drove his car down the middle of like a busy get together. Like, that's psychotic. That's kind of where Putin's at right now. And again, that's opinion, but I'm going to show you some things in the chart. Because his moon is actually conjunct in Lilith. Well, what does this mean? I talk a lot about Lilith, and I really appreciate it. By the way, click through on the link tree if you want to get your own chart reading and get your own perspective from me. One of the challenges in all of this has been we're watching little Putin grow up. We really, truly are, right? So you've got the conjunct in the Sun and Pluto, right? Where there's a lot of, it's kind of a love fest a little bit, right? And then you've also got this positive aspect where the moon's influences on Saturn, right? Where it's kind of like we can be one country, right? But there's a complement to each other. This all goes back to the idea when I talked about in the first video, when I talked about how they really needed each other to fulfill each other's life path. That's kind of where this is. That's why I'm saying this is coming to a head. This is coming to a head. I'm not calling for peace, but I'm going to tell you, first of all, March is not a good time to be a Russian anything, to be a Russian leader at any level. Somebody sent me something, and I should probably write this down, give them a shout out. But basically, it laid out how every single Russian premier, president, whatever it is that you want to say it, from Lenin to Stalin to whatever, they all met their demise in March. Thank you very much, the Ides. But now you're looking at somebody actually going through this reconciliation in their heart. Dare I say Putin? Right? But you've also got Mars and Jupiter in opposition. This is really good. They might have good intention. They might want to really kind of work together. But their freedom is at stake with that conjunction, with that opposition rather. Right? And then you've also got the positive aspects, which is like that mutual respect where Venus and Uranus comes in. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Uranus here in a second. But, you know, you've got this thing where it's like, it's kind of coming out, right? Where it's kind of like we really do want to get there, right? But you're such an asshole, Putin. In Zelensky, you're so hardcore to defend your country. I don't know if we can really negotiate. So you have that on the table right here, right? The Mars aspect into the first house, Venus and Mars are in conjunct right now, guys. This is a love-hate thing, right? Now, the important thing to this is that you've got a dynamic here where Zelensky's kind of doing everything right. He's defending the motherland. He's appealing to the greater masses. He's actually calling out Putin on his crap, right? Then you have Jupiter in opposition to Mars. So what that means is like, okay, the expansion of who we are, the progress of who we are, Zelensky, is up against the warmongering of Russia. You know, and everybody's kind of called for the same thing. Like, we're calling for peace. We want this to end. We want to... Completely senseless, completely ridiculous. As an empath, I tell you, fuck you. Then you also have Saturn trine to Mars. This is an interesting aspect. Wait till we get into the lower signs here. So, kind of forgot where I was. So the Saturn being trine to Mars here. There's two things, and I'm just kind of going over my notes here. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of reading off of something, but there's so much to this, right? And the dynamic here, this Saturn trine to Mars, and it goes both ways, right? They really realize this is something of influence to say, you know what, you get more bees with honey, right? Listen, what's in it for you is in it for me. Putin is probably dialing behind the scenes and starting to take light with being able to say, like, how do we do this and I kind of do whatever? Could you kind of sort of admit that you have a chemical factory? Can you kind of sort of admit? And by the way, for the last time, Ukraine has every right to build biological chemical stuff. And again, should they use it as weapons? As an empath? As a light worker? I'm going to tell you no. Why the hell do we have guns? Because it's my right. Okay, got it. They have every right to have it. And Vladimir Putin has every reason to defend his country if they actually ever threaten to use them. There's a delusion going on here on Putin's side, and he is waking up. Right? That Molly he took last night, it's starting to wear off. He's starting to realize that, again, Urkel, did I do that? Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going on. So I want to actually take a look at the, I think it's this one here. Forgive me if oh, there we go. I love these two. There we go. I want to just talk about Uranus here for a second. So I love to quote the movie, The Big Lebowski. This aggression will not stand. Over this line, you do not. Besides, dude, the correct nomenclature is Kiev. So just taking a look at Uranus's pull on this. Being conjunct with Venus means that the rebellion, and by the way, Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It represents Volodymyr Zelensky to a T. Right now, it has sincere influence on Venus. Just pulling up some notes here. One of the dynamics that he really has to begin to face, and I mean this for Putin, is that he needs to begin to reconcile that he kind of pissed off his brother, a friend. Sorry about that. Should have turned that off. I'm an emerging professional. I used to say that all the time when I would coach college students. You're an emerging professional. Clean up your act. Ding! Sorry about that. I'm not going to edit it. I'm beginning to get comfortable. By the way, I'm sorry I've been stammering. I'm sorry I go off on tangents, but I'm feeling my way a little bit, and I'm starting to enjoy it. Hang on. So Uranus in conjunct with Venus really kind of speaks to a lot of where his head is at. This is the type of thing where Putin is starting to look at him and going, he kind of sort of is the shit, isn't he? Now he's starting to think to himself, like, how can I capitalize on this? Listen, in no way, shape, or form did Zelensky ever do this to deserve it, right? But he's the man of the moment, right? He's starting to realize that because he stood up, Putin's realization is he's kind of going, oh, maybe I didn't do it the right way. Maybe there's a better way to do this. I'm sorry, dude. Did I do that? So this influence is like the rebellion is kind of holding up the mirror to him and going, dude, really? 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 And by the way, just in the heart of a man, when Zelensky and Putin finally get into a room, one of the terms of conditions are going to be nobody has firearms. Because I'm telling you, Zelensky will not be able to hold back on him. He just won't. That's my sense. I'm not predicting anything. I am just telling you, he is going to be such an emotional conduit to this because he's going to say, you killed my people. And Putin is going to deserve it. It's part of his path. Now, the Uranus in opposition to Jupiter, Putin wants to expand. I want to roll into tanks. I want to do whatever. Uranus basically goes, all right, we'll be the rebellion. We'll go ahead and do this. We're going to stop you from expanding. By the way, they're really winning on the border front. Ukraine is. Don't tell Putin that because he won't listen anyways. And then the Uranus trine with the Uranus is kind of like, this one speaks to one another. So, you know, the Uranus in me sees the Uranus in you. By the way, the anus in you sees the anus in me. Every once in a while, I got to go 14 years old. You see what I'm saying? But Uranus, being this influence of that rebellion, the upheaval, that sort of thing, they are being each other's upheaval for improvement. Believe it or not, they need one another here. That's my take. That's my take. All right, so I want to go down to the bottom part of the chart, or the bottom part of the comparison here. And hope you guys can see this. We're going to bring it a little bit up here to the top. So I really want to kind of focus. And again, I want to keep these videos a little bit short, 20, 25 minutes. And I want to kind of point out, look at all of these aspects in the 10th house. Remember, the 10th house is about the career. This is about how the world sees you. This is about how you are progressing as a human in what you are known for, your career, your reputation, whatever. This is a full-scale assault on Putin's reputation, 100%, right? So in the first house, and again, I want to go up just a little bit. I want to point out that the North Node, or first of all, the first house, Zelensky in his first house, and again, I want to pull it up. I don't want to get this wrong. In Zelensky's first house, right, which is his rising sign, he is in Gemini, right? Remember, he's an Aquarius, he's a Gemini rising, and he's a Leo moon. So his passions run deep. His understanding of who he is, he's got a ton of resolve. Like listen, Putin is a bully to the kid that stands up to him. I mean, the summary of the astrology of all of this is the bully has met his match, right? Goliath has picked on David, right? So in the first houses, when you do this comparison and you've got the Scorpio rising, I would tell you that based on what I'm seeing here, Putin wants it all to go away. Putin wants to say, oligarchs, I'm so sorry. I didn't think that. They're babies. You know, we didn't have this problem with Trump in office. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Well, the dynamic here is also the understanding of who he is as a person, Putin. So Gemini being this like, hey, can't you get back to fun? Do you really want to put your money where your mouth is? That highlighted first house into the Mercury here is you better, guess what? You're talking about the wrong thing. He's calling him out. He's calling him out. Doing one of these. His first house in Gemini is projecting also into Vladimir Putin's North Node. And again, the North Node is about your path. And oh, by the way, Vladimir Putin's North Node, Aquarius. Volodymyr Zelensky is an Aquarius. He's the lesson bringer for him, right? And what's also interesting is that his Lilith, Vladimir Putin's third house has his North Node in it. So this is about communication. He's getting his life path called out right now. He is getting his life path called out. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so a couple of things here in the 10th house, really noteworthy. And again, to this, the career of one, let me do it this way. His career path in the 10th house is in conjunction with his North Node. Guess who is getting called out? That's a big thing. A couple of other things into this. There is some mistrust, though. The 10th house in opposition to Pluto. A lot of mistrust. Lot of mistrust. It's kind of like let's, I wouldn't put it past Zelensky to say, we're going to do everything on video. And they're like, just come to me. Just come to me. Right? By the way, the combination of Zelensky being an Aquarius, influencing the North Node of Putin, which is in Aquarius. By the way, Zelensky's 10th house is Aquarius. And it's a 4 angle. And those of you that follow, and by the way, put your comments below. Talk to me about this, what you think the number 4 means in that position. But he is at a 20-20 angle. It is a variant that adds up to 4, and that's about foundation. He's about to rock his foundation. Putin, you've already lost the war. Based on these charts, nothing but cleanup. This is like, you are going to actually ask Zelensky behind closed doors, lick my wounds. Tell me what I gotta do. This is what's our public narrative? By the way, it's gonna come down to about a paragraph and a half. It's gonna be a 45-second statement. They have decided to take our tanks and go home. This is bullshit. I can just see Russia saying that at this point. This is bullshit. Not give any reason, not give any rhyme, and just pick up and go. Take your ball and go home. You guys don't war right. Putin, the blood of children and women are on your hands. The displacement of homes of tens of thousands of people are on your hands. The death of your own people is on your hands. You put them in harm's way. You had a shitty plan to take over a country you underestimated. It's on your hands. Mr. Zelensky is proving his worth and giving you your lesson on a world stage. Sorry. And listen, I have zero malice towards the Russian people. Zero. As a matter of fact, I think you guys got to get your shit together. Go right down there, march on it. And by the way, I think rebellion is a very important thing when it's done not necessarily for the ideologies of a person, but rather the belief system of a people. It is the one time you should truly be utilitarian. What do we believe in? What is the United States made of? Rhetoric. We are made of fucking rhetoric and not action. I'll pull the chart of the United States and it's a shitstorm. So you've got the 10th house acting on this. And oh, by the way, the 10th house on the 10th house. Are you seeing this? Am I the only one seeing this? I'm going to blow this up. Look at this right here. The 10th house is in opposition of the 10th house. Anybody want to guess what that means? It means Mr. Vladimir Putin is getting his shit called out. And oh, by the way, it's also, they're calling each other's crap out, which is important, I think. But it's how you handle it. It's how you handle this type of conflict. And I'm here to tell you that Mr. Putin isn't handling it well. Not in his behavior, not in his class, nothing. Nothing. I mean, he's actually, and I'm sorry, I'm pulling something else up because I just noticed something else in these, and I'm sorry to do these on the fly. I'm sorry I'm not overly whatever, but I work with a stream of consciousness, and when they show it to me, I've got to run with it, right? This is a very public house. This is very public in terms of like what we are meant to really kind of see, right? And when you are in opposition with your 10th house, it means that you are doing this on a public stage. Yeah. So, in the 10th house conjunction, there it is, and the Lilith and the Pluto. This is a mistrust right here. The 10th house to the Pluto. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off there. Back on the screen. And then the 10th house square on Jupiter. Yeah, this is pushing down on him. This is letting him know, like, I'm going to be known for being this person. By the way, this is sweet spots for Zelensky. A lot of people talk about him being in harm's way and being taken out and all that other good stuff. I'm just going to say, not according to this chart. According to the charts that I've really kind of looked at with this is where it is. And again, I continue to contend with this as I wrap this up. Peace on earth, goodwill towards men. It's not just a thing, it's a way of life. There have been, as I'm about to do a video on another influence in my life, we're not raising pansies here, right? We need to be authentic in our truth. But when your truth has to be bastardized and changed and wholesale made the freak up, you are not worth your salt, Mr. Putin. You are a bullshitter. You believe your own lies and you believe your own crap. Did Ukraine do some things? Yes. And by the way, I think Zelensky was cleaning that up. That's what I feel. That's how I see it. Thank you guys for coming along, and stay tuned as I really start to fill in my studio. But I felt the need, and I'm sorry I'm a little echoey. All the boards are coming in. I'm doing this the right way. Close the deal. Making sure that I'm doing this properly, professionally, and for you. I want to thank you guys for your like and subscribes. Make sure you share with your friends. Support the Empath Rising. Take a look at the astrology classes. Take a look at booking a reading with me. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you guys. And the abundance and the windfall from this is going to help other people. That is my path. That is my mission. I'm helping the people around me, the people that have been in my corner, by my side from day one. They're amazing people. I can't wait for you to meet with them and see them on a grander scale. I'm preparing something here, even on YouTube, to really get the word out for the amazing people that I know. So I want to thank you guys for being a part of this. Peace on earth. Free Ukraine. Quit hurting people, Putin. Quit it. On behalf of all the empaths in the world, since we can't be together, we're gonna give each other the heart tab because we care and love for one another, and remind one another to simply keep going. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.